Okay, so let's dive right in. Today we're going deep into your specific stack of sources. All crypto stuff, all dated around June 4th, 2025.
Yeah, a real snapshot of that day.
And our job really is to, unpack these articles you've highlighted, pull out the key bits, the main nuggets, and see what story they tell about the market then. We're basically guiding you through your chosen info.
Exactly. Sticking just to what's in these specific reports, cutting through the noise, finding the core points, and maybe what they imply based purely on this material.
Perfect. Okay, let's kick off with this headline piece you flagged. It's from CoinMarketCap via coinlive.me. Trump token withdrawal causes market concerns.
Right. So the core event is pretty clear. Someone made a withdrawal related to the MAGA Trump token.
And the direct consequence reported in this article is just market concerns.
Yeah, that's the nugget here. Action.withdrawal, reaction.market concerns. But the source itself, it's pretty thin, actually. It doesn't really get into why the withdrawal happened or, what kind of concerns they were.
Just that they happened.
Just that they were triggered by this withdrawal.
Okay, so you have this event involving a high-profile, maybe politically connected token, and it causes a ripple, registers as a concern. Even without the details, the fact it makes the news like this, well, it suggests the market was sensitive, maybe. Sensitive to moves in tokens like these.
Could be. Or hints at volatility worries, perhaps. Or just, the impact when big holders move assets. According to this report, anyway, it shows these specific token events can grab attention.
Right, influence sentiment. Okay, so moving on from that specific token,
Right.
Your other sources paint a broader picture for June 4th, like this piece on crypto fee rankings from bitcoininfonews.com.
Yeah, this one gives a sense of where the money's moving, or at least where the fees are being generated. Tether, it says, still held the top spot for weekly fees. No huge surprise there, maybe.
But here's where it gets interesting, isn't it? PancakeSwap apparently climbed up to second place in weekly fees.
Yeah, that's the notable bit. And who did they overtake? Circle. Yeah. So that's quite a shift. It points towards maybe a real uptick in activity on PancakeSwap. Trading, swapping, maybe yield farming, generating more fees than Circle's stablecoin activity that week.
It's like a little pulse check, isn't it? Those fee rankings. Shows where the actual cost-generating activity is happening. Suggests DeFi stuff on PancakeSwap was maybe hotter than stablecoin moves via Circle right then.
Definitely raises questions about what's driving volume on different platforms at that specific moment. Now, several other sources you included seem to point to something else, something quite significant.
Which is?
The whole institutional and corporate interest side. It seems to be really picking up pace based on these articles.
Ah, yes. That seems like a strong theme. Like this one from thesteerpress.com about Adam Back.
Yeah, this details a specific investment. Adam Back putting in $2.1 million.
And it was into a Swedish company, H100 Group.
Exactly. And the key reason, according to the article, was the firm's Bitcoin treasury strategy. Where companies decide to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet.
Right. And the market reaction.
Pretty dramatic, apparently. The report says H100's share price jumped 37% after the announcement.
Wow, 37%. That's... Well, that definitely shows how the market, or at least some investors, reacted positively to seeing a known figure like Big Back supporting that Bitcoin treasury approach.
It's a strong signal. And it wasn't just individuals. You also flagged this piece from canalcoin.com about DigiAsia Corp.
Right, the fintech firm.
They announced a pretty substantial treasury strategy. We're talking $100 million.
$100 million. And not just Bitcoin, right? It was Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Correct. Significantly boosting their crypto holdings. So this isn't just a small bet. It's a major strategic decision to put these assets onto their corporate books.
It's another concrete example, a big one, of that trend. Companies holding digital assets as reserves.
And then maybe the biggest example of this mainstream integration in your sources is the piece from its Bitcoin world on BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, IBIT.
Ah, yes. And the language used is quite strong, isn't it? Phenomenal speed in gathering assets.
Phenomenal, yeah. And that speed pushed IBIT into the top 25 ETFs overall.
Not just crypto ETFs.
No, all ETFs across every asset class.
That is seriously rapid growth, putting a Bitcoin product right up there with established giants.
It really is. So if you take those three together, Beck's investment, DJasia's $100 treasury, IBIT's ranking, they really paint a picture, based on this June 4th news, of accelerating adoption by bigger, more traditional players.
Yeah, that narrative seems pretty strong from these sources. While you have token concerns and DeFi shifts, The big story feels like mainstream finance moving in more decisively.
That definitely seems to be a key takeaway here. But it's not all about the big picture adoption. There's also news on specific altcoins.
Right, this Bitcoin Systemi EN piece about Binance listing RESOLV, the ticker's RESOLVE.
Yeah, so simple news point, RESOLV got listed on Binance.
But the article frames it as double good news. Why was that?
Because it wasn't just a standard listing. It was listed on both Binance Alpha and Binance Futures.
Okay, and what's the significance there?
Well, Alpha often gives projects early visibility, sort of a spotlight. And Futures, that opens up leveraged trading, which can boost liquidity, maybe help with price discovery. So for this specific altcoin, RESOLV, that day meant getting major exposure across different parts of a huge exchange.
So it shows that even with all the institutional buzz, the altcoin world is still active. New listings, projects gaining traction.
Absolutely. Things are still happening at that level, too.
Yeah.
No. Let's switch gears slightly. There's a piece here that sounds a note of caution, looking more long-term, from the CoinRise media.
Ah, the quantum computing threat article.
Exactly. It asks, basically, is the crypto industry ready for quantum computers? This was dated June 3rd, the day before most of these others.
And the sentiment wasn't exactly optimistic, was it? It said financial analysts had serious concern. The sector was nowhere near ready.
Serious concern, yeah. And it even names an analyst, Rick Mayday, described as a lead financial analyst voicing this worry. So this isn't just some abstract tech discussion, it's coming from the financial side, looking at future security risks.
So on the one hand, you have all this rapid institutional buying and adoption.
Right, billions flowing in, big players getting involved.
And on the other hand, you have analysts worried about a fundamental future technological threat to the security of those very assets.
It definitely adds a layer of complexity, doesn't it? Puts that acceleration in adoption into a different context. Maybe raises questions about whether the underlying tech security is keeping pace.
Okay, so let's try and tie this all together then. Based only on this specific set of sources from around June 4th, 2025, what's the overall picture?
Well, what emerges is, I think, a really dynamic market. Things happening on lots of different levels at once. You've got that specific Trump token withdrawal causing ripples, showing sensitivity there.
Yep.
You've got shifts in activity metrics like PancakeSwap jumping up in the fee rankings over Circle, suggesting changing user behavior.
Again, the big one. Clear, strong signals of institutional and corporate adoption picking up speed. Atom back, DigiAsia, BlackRock's IBIT hitting that major milestone.
Definitely. But alongside that, you still have the nuts and bolts of the crypto space ticking along, like the RESOLV altcoin getting its big Binance listing.
And then layered over all of it, that look towards the future, the analysts raising red flags about quantum computing readiness.
Exactly. So it's a real mix. Micro-level token stuff, DeFi activity shifts, macro-level institutional strategy, specific altcoin progress, and these looming future risks.
It really paints a picture of a market evolving incredibly fast, integrating with traditional finance, but also dealing with its own unique issues and, well, potential future headaches.
Yeah, it's not just one simple story. It's growth, complexity, and potential challenges all happening at the same time.
So quick recap. We pulled out the Trump token concern, the fee ranking shift showing PancakeSwap's rise, the significant institutional moves from BAC, DigiAsia, and BlackRock, the RESOLV listing on Binance, and those analyst warnings about quantum threats.
It's a dense snapshot for sure. A market clearly integrating but also still navigating its own path and facing down the road challenges. Rapid evolution seems like the right description.
It really does. And maybe here's a final thought for you. Based purely on these sources, we see this undeniable rapid institutional buying, right? BlackRock, H100, DigiAsia, accumulating significant crypto assets. But then we also see these serious concerns from financial analysts about the industry's readiness for something like quantum computing. So the question it leaves you with is, how sustainable is that? Is the security and foundational tech keeping pace with the sheer speed and scale of this investment? It's definitely something to think about.